Oliver Sloup joins us now. He's at the edge of the trading floor in Chicago, and he is with Blue Line Futures. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's nice to see these grain markets rallying back a little bit. We saw a little bit of a breakdown Friday afternoon, and I think a large part of that was on the back of July option expiration. We had an incredible run over the course of the last month, and to offset some of those in the money calls, the big players were selling futures against it as to they would be assigned the futures at expiration, and the bid and ask between those in the money calls is pretty wide. So the best way to offset that is to sell futures. I think that's why we saw pressure going into Friday's session and the weekend, but rebounding here nicely today as weather kind of sits back in the driver's seat here throughout this week. We've got the crop progress report here out this afternoon. Good to excellent ratings is going to be the number that everyone's keeping a very close eye on. We wouldn't be surprised to see that back tick a little bit, 1 to 2%, looking at 57 to 58%. Good to excellent, down from 59% last week.
Well, when it comes to the July futures on the grains, we have, about 3 days left to play in that July contract before deliveries start on Friday?
That is correct. Just a couple days left, so the big focus is going to be on the December corn contract for us and the new crop beans for us. So going out to November, that's where a lot of the volume is going to start to pick up with July going into delivery. And we remain very optimistic, both corn and soybeans. I think wheat, although performing really well today, might be a little bit of a laggard here over the intermediate term. I think producers should probably be a little bit more aggressive in taking advantage of prices there. But again, weather and crop progress going to be big numbers to keep an eye on here today.
I almost get the feeling that heading into that planted acreage report that comes out Friday, if it was a high number, everyone would generally take it with a grain of salt, given the fact that it's been so wet here this month. If it was a low number, it might actually have a big market impact here, just because most folks expect there may be further reductions.
Well, it's going to be taken with a grain of salt because it's taken from a survey at the beginning of the month, and planted acres at the beginning of the month is obviously drastically different than what we're looking at right now. So I don't expect that to be really reflective as to what we're actually looking at as far as acres go. So I think there's still going to be a huge question mark, and over time I think we're going to see the USDA continue to walk back the planted acres, and then on top of that you still have that huge question mark looming with what is planted, what's the potential drop off in yield potential that we have with the weather and the late planted stuff as well.